Hello, my fellow viewers and subscribers. The Superchocolatemilkshake, and I am here with another daily dose of chocolate. Look, I really want this to be a little bit more positive. I really wanted it to be more happier. I wanted to share some good times with you, laugh, maybe have a few laughs, but you know, it's kind of hard to do that right now because you know what? Like, we're only 3 weeks in to this month. Well, 4, actually. Well, we're only like maybe 4 or 5 weeks into the year so far. And somebody else got shot and killed by ICE. Look, no matter which way you look at it, if you're going to support this, then you might as well get the frick out of here, okay? I don't think I can convince you of anything. Anything at all. You have no room to be here in my jurisdiction or with me or listening to this podcast, because you know what, I'm gonna have my unfiltered thoughts here with this. What the frick is wrong with these people? If they wanted to vote for this, if they wanted to vote for disaster in the United States, if they wanted to vote for innocent people, doesn't matter what skin color they are, getting killed because somebody decided that their life doesn't mean anything anymore and they should no longer be on this planet. If they wanted people who could normally afford things to no longer be able to afford things, well, congratulations, you just got everything that you wanted. Are you happy? Are you good with yourselves? Are you okay? Are you doing okay? Good. Good. I hope so. Because, you know, I'm sorry. How else am I supposed to take this? How else am I supposed to feel about this? Because, you know, like, I am absolutely mad right now. Absolutely mad. This should never be happening. Like, this is a failure of leadership. This is a failure of the United States and most of the principles that's supposed to stand. We have the right to peacefully assemble. It is part of one of the things of the Constitution. It is actually a part of free speech. And yet we have a president that is turning around and calling us terrorists for even just supporting these people. Look, my heart still goes out to the state of Minnesota, okay? Because my mom is from that state. And you know what? One thing I learned about Minnesotans is that they're crazy. But they're the kind of crazy that if you mess with one of them and so much as hurt them just a little bit, you'll get all of the state raining down upon you. Because they have crazy love for each other, okay? Like, they quite literally treat each other like neighbors. Nicest people that you could probably ever possibly meet. Okay? Minnesotans are like the best kind of people. And you know what? It's amazing to see that they're handling all this pressure and all this hate and rhetoric that is now entering their state with such grace and calmness. Like, why is ICE even still there? Why is ICE even doing anything in there? They should be getting themselves out of there. Because you know what? I mean, honestly, they should. Because at this point, like, all the heat is on them. They are hurting and abusing innocent people at this point. And honestly, with the fact that there has been more than at least 3 or 4 shootings and more than several injuries and more than... I mean, there's been a lot of people who have been harshly taken out of their normal environment and dropped off someplace where they didn't want to go. And it doesn't matter what color of the skin they had, what their background is, what their ethnicity or race is. It doesn't matter at this point. Because basically at this point, they're doing it indiscriminatory. They do not care. Really, truth be told, this is what I think is really happening. Again, I've mentioned this before on my first podcast I did this year, but I'm going to mention it again. Trump is itching for a war. Why is he itching for a war? So that he could declare martial law and be president forever. Okay? Like, wake the heck up, okay? Look, I get it. it may feel like this is chair-side tactics or armchair tactics, basically, where we're not being violent. We're not being hateful enough towards these guys, to send the message. But you know what? Here's one thing I gotta say. Take a look at what happened with the French Revolution. They got violent. You know who they ended up with? They ended up with fucking Napoleon, who, by the way, was way worse than any of the political leaders that came before them. I'm sorry, but if we were to get violent, we may end up with somebody far worse than Donald J. Trump. Far worse. So please, be peaceful in your protests, okay? Don't get violent. Don't get too rowdy. Please remain calm, remain peaceful, keep marching forward and standing up for these people, and standing up for your neighbors, and defending your neighbors, no matter which way you look at it. Warn them when ICE is in the neighborhood. Use your whistles. Use your voices. Because at this point, this is what really matters more. Because if they're going to attack us, here's something I will bring up. If Donald Trump declares war on us, well, he declared war on us. What can we do about it? What can we say about it? We didn't start attacking them. He started attacking us. He started to make it look like a bloodbath. And you know how that's going to look to the rest of the world? It's not going to look very good to them. I mean, tell you the truth, Canada might just march over the border with this whole war that he declared on any peaceful protester and probably start defending us. And if that's the case, well, you know what? I'd probably get a jar of maple syrup and a shotgun and join them. Because, well, I mean, our country ain't that bad a time at this time of year, eh? Okay, I'm sorry for the stereotypical jokes. Seriously, you guys are the best. You guys are probably the best neighbors that anybody could ask for. I am sorry that you have to put up with every single antic. And I should not be apologizing on the behalf of our country. You know what? Same thing goes for Greenland, too. I am sorry that Donald Trump is trying to threaten to take you over. What the heck did we need you for? Heck if I know. Really, if I don't know why we need you for, then if anybody really knows why we need Greenland for, then you know what? Why are we taking it over? Why does Trump want to take it over? I think Greenland's perfectly fine in the control of... Wait, was it Denmark again? Yeah, I think it was Denmark. I think they're doing perfectly fine for themselves. And then, not to mention, also Venezuela. Again, if I had to say anything about that country... What Trump did was completely and totally unnecessary, and honestly, we really didn't need to go into meddling with their business. I mean, I'm pretty sure their dictator president was pretty much on the way out anyway. So, it wouldn't have mattered. But still, what we did was just completely and totally wrong, because we need to stop interfering with so many other countries and start focusing on what's wrong here first. And there are tons of things wrong with this country. First of all, there's not enough people stepping up and voting. Because you know what? Sure, I will never forgive the Trump people who voted for Trump, okay? I may be willing to allow you to come over to our side if you are tired of these antics, but we're never going to forgive you for what you did. Because you were the ones that put us in this situation. And if you want our forgiveness, then you need to work for it. You need to prove that you can earn it. Because this is exactly the kind of shit that you're doing to us. Proving that we need to earn your guys' forgiveness. Or that we need to earn your guys' mercy. Despite the fact that, honestly, we had nothing to prove in the first place. How do we... So, yeah, like I said, when it comes down to it, how do we do this, keep going forward? Well, you know what? This is the one thing I'm using this podcast for. I'm trying to use it as a freaking voice. I'm trying to use it as a freaking voice for the people who can't defend themselves and can't raise up their voices. I have a loud voice, okay? I can't control it. I don't know how loud I get at times. And honestly, it's something that is a bit of a problem with me, especially when it comes down to my own immediate family. But you know what? I mean, I'm trying to use it in a way that tries to lift people up. I mean, there's a reason why this podcast exists. I was motivated to take some action with some of this, especially with what's been going on for what's happened so far in this year. And trust me, folks, we're only 1 month in. Let's just hope and pray that February, things start turning around, and pulling up. because we can't get... I don't think we want to sink any lower. Nobody wants to sink any lower than this. Okay? And I think we can all agree that, honestly, this is a terrible time to be living in. Can 2026 be over already? Can 2026 just, end and we can get on to the next big election and just vote Donald Trump out? Because seriously, we really do need to vote him out. Actually, what we really need to do is also make major political reforms as well. We need to get rid of super PACs. We need to get rid of our party system. We needed to get rid of... What was it? Oh, yeah, the Electoral College. Because you know what? These three things in particular needed to go years ago. Because, you know what? I'll highlight what each and every one of these things have done absolutely wrong with our country. First of all, super PACs. It's put way too much money into our political system. It has caused way too much influence, both Democrat and Republican, to basically do what the corporation wants, allowing them to get away with more stuff. Like, for example, big box retailers like Walmart and Best Buy and all that other stuff, causing small businesses to go out of business because they can't afford the taxes no more. And it's bad enough that right now it's also happening again with AI. And honestly, it's getting even worse with AI because honestly, it's causing electricity bills to go up and also water bills to go up because AI data centers are using way more water than the entire city of New York alone. And that's the entire one. We even include the Bronx, the Queens, every single aspect of it. That's ridiculous. Why? And that's for something that honestly is not going to go anywhere anyway. Because right now, I'm pretty sure it's at its peak. It can't get any better than what it already is. I am 100% convinced of it. Because, we can't feed it more knowledge to give it understanding because knowledge and understanding are two separate things. And I do have verifiable proof of that. Don't believe me? Take a look at Sonic and Shadow. Shadow and Sonic are pretty much... I'm sorry to bring up Sonic the Hedgehog as an example, but this is a really good example because... Oh, listen, hear me out, okay? Sonic the Hedgehog and Shadow the Hedgehog both have equivalent power. They're both just as fast as each other, and they both are capable of doing the same thing. However, Shadow has knowledge of what he can do. So basically, he's able to do things that Sonic, doesn't do. But Sonic can do the same things that Shadow does, but he just chooses not to. But see, here's the thing. Shadow has to wear inhibitor rings. He has to wear something on himself to prevent himself from exploding. Meanwhile, Sonic does not. Sonic has perfect control over his power. He knows how to use it. And see, that's the difference between Sonic and Shadow, is that Shadow doesn't know how to use his power, but Sonic does. And see, that's the difference between a human and an AI. The humans know how to use their knowledge, the AI does not. And giving him more knowledge is not going to give him the knowledge of how to control it. So, that's the difference between an AI and a human, is that, honestly, the human would still have more control of what it's going to output. I'm going back to that AI conversation that I had last week, but, oh well. That's neither here nor there. The AI centers are definitely also driving up a lot of costs, and honestly, it's starting to get sickening, too, because, right now, it's bad enough that we live in a remote area, and these costs are starting to impact us, too. I think the electric company is trying to report way more electricity being used for us, primarily, because they want to charge us more than likely. Because of the whole bash that's happening to the electrical grid with Donald Trump trying to pull as much possible from alternative energy sources and trying to promote this AI thing and allow AI to do whatever the heck these companies that want to build AI data centers to do whatever the heck they please and not be taxed and not be charged for the amount of water and electricity that they're using. Which then, of course, means that the cost always falls back onto us. When technically we're already stretched out thin with the price of groceries, with the price of gas, with the price of housing. This is starting to get ridiculous. This is starting to get out of hand. How much further till the straw? How much further does it take before the camel's back breaks. Like, I'm sorry, but they're going to keep piling it on, and yeah, that camel ain't going to last for very much longer. I mean, no matter which way you look at it, we're falling towards an economic collapse. Do you want to avoid it? I'm pretty sure you do. I think we all kind of want to avoid it. Because, I mean, granted, a lot of us have been thinking apocalypse if the economy collapses, but that's not the case. I mean, we never really were trained to think of something else. The only thing that I gotta say is that if we have to start tearing down the economy because it's failing us, well, the very first thing that we need to start doing is building up what we also tear down. I know it's not easy to do that. And, I know it's hard to try to build up from a system that already exists. But you know what? Here's the thing. If we try to do it all from scratch and tear everything down, people are going to lose lives and get hurt in the entire process. Seriously, if you don't believe me, take a look at Transformers 1. Sure, it's not the most in-depth look at this, of two different sides fighting for the same thing, but it certainly is a look at two different sides fighting for the same thing. And this is true whether if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you're a Republican that voted for Trump or a Democrat that didn't vote for Trump in the last major election. It does not matter. You guys wanted the same exact thing, right? Well, are we getting the same exact thing? No! We're getting it worse. We are far worse off right now than we've ever been in any point in the history. Even the Great Depression didn't look this bad. Like, I'm sorry. How on earth is it defendable that somebody voted for Donald Trump at this point? How? I mean, it wasn't defendable in the first place. I think, really, at this point, like I said, Congress really needs to file for impeachment. You should email and contact your local congressmen, representatives, and try to get Donald Trump impeached. Join at any major protests that are happening nearby you, because we need these protests to happen. Because, let's face it, nothing's going to change if we don't try to stand up. And if ICE shows up and tries to kill you or tries to capture you or do whatever, don't fight them, okay? Because to do that, we'll give Trump more firepower and more reason to declare war on us. Okay? So please remember that. Do not fight them if they show up. Keep standing your ground. They're bullies and spineless cowards, and we need to remind them of that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off the deep end with this, and I didn't mean to sound so serious with this, but you know what, at this point, I don't know how to react to this, okay? I want to try and do something lighthearted, okay? But at the same time, it's kind of wrong. The only people that could probably really stand up to this right now are the people who are brave enough to stand up to it. And honestly, we need more people like that, because honestly, to lock ourselves away and give in to despair is honestly the worst decision to do. Because if you do that, well, then you're letting them win. You might as well just surrender all reins of control over to them. Seriously. Think about that. Stand up and fight. Don't be a spineless coward like them. Because that's all they are. Spineless cowards. They're afraid of you. There's a reason why they're afraid of you. And it's not just because of you and you alone, too. But it's because of the millions of other people that are standing behind you. We need to remember that Renee Good is not going to die for nothing. We also need to remember that this most recent death, which I think was called, Alex Pretty. He didn't die for nothing. We need to stand up and show them what they're doing to us. And if we can't show them, show the rest of the world. Because they're going to have our backs anyway. So anyway, if you're curious, actually, if you are also a creative, because actually being creative is a good source of being rebellious against Donald Trump right now, I actually am hosting a game jam right now. If you want to join, then you know what? Click that link down below inside the video, because, well, it's the very first link on my list of links, but that's because I'm trying to promote it. Look, when it comes down to it, creatives are definitely needed too in this fight. Because here's something that creatives can do that sometimes us protesters can't do either. We need to get people inspired to think. We need to make people think. Period. Because right now we don't have enough critical thinkers in our world. If we did, well, the war in between Russia and Ukraine, would have never started because critical thinkers would have just turned around and shot the general that was giving them orders to march into Ukraine, despite the fact that Ukraine did absolutely nothing wrong. But then, of course, if we had critical thinkers, then, of course, you know what? They probably wouldn't be following orders anyway. We need people to think critically and think for themselves, and we need to encourage people to think for themselves, and that's what being creative is all about. If you want to be a creative and try to make something that might inspire people and do something that's different, then join my game jam down below, because that is exactly a good way of becoming inspired and also inspiring others and trying to create something for this world that maybe makes people think and realize something different about their situation. I know it doesn't always work, but hey, anything. I literally mean anything is better than nothing. Are creatives going to save the world? No. But they certainly are the last line of defense in it. Creatives are definitely the proof that, the world can change and can become a much better place, And that's what I think we need to fight for, what we need to start fighting for, okay? So anyway, I'm kind of rambling on a little bit too much. So anyway, yep, like I said, you can join the Shake It Up Jam. It is down below in the link in the description. And you know what? Hey, if you're new here, please be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and comment down below if you liked it. And I'll see you all in the next video. This is Superchocolatemilkshake, signing off.